We're waiting for our engineer here. Is that mic on? You know there's a little button to turn it on and off.
Yeah. I got the sound earlier.
Okay, cool.
That's why I was like tapping it, making sure it's got
Okay, good. I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
Tell me when.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Yeah, we are streaming now again.
We're live now?
Yeah.
Okay, back for hour number 2 about your house. We got a caller now, but we're going to try to make this work. I got James on the phone. Good morning, James. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing good.
Thanks for calling in here. You got him on the audio there?
Yeah.
Working okay. All right, James, good morning to you. Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you listening. I really do, and especially calling in. We're trying to make technology work for us. What's on your mind, big boy?
So I was interested in getting into the trade business.
Which one?
Mostly probably like electrician or probably somewhere around like something dealing with the house and mostly like plumbing or something.
Well, let me make a suggestion. First of all, find the company that you might want to work for, like a plumbing company. You know, you're going to learn more, and Kevin, you can dial in here if you want to say something too, because he's been out in the field as well. But if you're interested in, electrical or plumbing, right now, and let's forget about the paycheck a minute, okay? Either one you pick, regardless of what trade or field you go into, if you go into a trade, when you go into a trade such as electrical or plumbing, or we can expand it to HVAC or, masonry or whatever. But my father was a blue collar man from the day I was born on. He was an electrician. And right now, 2 of the most sought after jobs are electrical and plumbing. Not sought after, but very well paying jobs, okay? And with great benefits. Plumbing, for example, the number one top business right now would be a plumber, believe it or not. Plumbers make great money. They're in tremendous demand. And if you went to work for a plumbing company that has an apprenticeship or internship training program. Now, I'm not going to formalize it and say you got to be an apprentice and you've got to be an intern, you've got to be this, you don't have to be anything. But as I alluded to last hour, all you got to do is want to work and learn plumbing or learn electrical. Wouldn't you agree with me, Kevin?
Absolutely.
That's all they're looking for, is someone who's going to show up on time with a vehicle, driver's license, that's got the credentials, and they're very basic. And some companies don't even ask for a drug test anymore. Some, not all. But, just go after a company that's going to treat you well. There's companies out there that'll take advantage of you, treat you like dirt. Get away from them. They're out there. There's good ones, there's bad ones. But get with a company that's got a good training program, be it electrical or plumbing. And here's the beautiful thing about the trades. I had a young man in here that graduated from Independence High School. He was on the show one Saturday with his mother. And that was one of the mother stories, that she was very disappointed in her son not wanting to go to college. But this young man got right out of high school, went to work for Blue Dot Concrete Company, the big concrete trucks, as a diesel mechanic, and worked with his hands. Loved it. His mother said he came home with a smile on his face every day. But now, I heard recently in the past 3 weeks, where Carter, that's his name, Carter has jumped ship. He is no longer working for Blue Dot, but now is working for an electrical company, or plumbing. I can't remember what it was. And the moral to the story is, once you learn how to work with your hands and your mind, it empowers you beyond your wildest dreams, because you become a creator, a fix-it man. What that does to your self-esteem and motivation is incredible. You agree or disagree, Kevin?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really, you're becoming a craftsman and an artist.
Exactly.
It develops you so this way you can adapt to any situation.
Exactly.
And adapt in a way that you personally feel drawn to. Like it connects with your soul.
Right.
Versus just fitting in a box.
Exactly. Does that make sense, James?
Yes, that makes sense.
So if you go into whatever you go into, how old are you? Can I ask that?
I'm 24.
Oh man, you're prime. And think about welding too. Well, you go into welding. What do you do now, James?
I drive forklifts and sometimes I'm driving concrete trucks.
That ain't bad. That ain't bad. But there again, you can get into the I would go into the electrical field if it were me. And now let me tell you how simple it is. And you call me back. Let me know if you take this path. Okay, Jane?
Okay.
And what you need to do is you need to find an electrical company. And I would recommend residential. That's just me because there's always houses and people who need electrical work done. Always. Always. And now you can go into an electrical firm like Star Electric or Watson or a large commercial industrial outfit, and you're going to learn commercial industrial electrical. Not that the principles aren't the same, it's just a different landscape as far as your work environment goes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You got big buildings versus showing up and pulling in somebody's driveway every day, which, I've done a little bit of both of them through the years. And by the way, my first job in the trades was for Reed Electric back in 1968. And I got a job in the summer. Now, granted, my father worked for Reed Electric, and it was easy for me to get a job, but it was great. Now, the beautiful thing, once again, about being trades, as we've alluded to here in the conversation, once you get that self-confidence and that feeling of empowerment, you can go anywhere you want to go and get a job in the trades, be it a plumbing outfit, electrical, but I'm going to tell you, electricals would be on top of my list other than welding. Welding's another trade, great, But if you like lifting bricks, brick masons, great job. McGee Brothers, tremendous outfit. And there are more, Griffin Brothers, Huntley Brothers, masonry companies all over the place that are really good companies that you can get a good job there too. But there again, I fall back to the electrical. That's just me. But you go for what you want. But it's easy. All you got to do is show up, dress like you want to work. You got experience enough. If you've been in the industry, which you have, you know what to do, right?
Yes.
So if you do that and you're willing to show up on time and do the job, you'll have a job. You could, what's today, Friday? You could be to work by next Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
New job, I promise you. Most people aren't aware of how easy it is to get into the trades. But it's easy. So go out there and kick butt, get her done.
All right.
Did that come in audio okay there?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, James. You got anything else, brother?
No, that's it.
Well, I appreciate you calling. I really do, and thanks for listening.
No problem. Thank you for the advice.
Hey, you take care. Drive careful. Be safe out there.
Will do.
All right. And James is out. James is done.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. All right. One more thing I want to talk about, and that's how it affects contractors. And when I say contractors, typically in today's world in contracting, if you hired a remodeling contractor today, you're going to hire a company that's represented by one person as a GC, a licensed general contractor. And typically, the vast portion of the trades are subcontractors. They're hired, the electrical firm, they hire an electrical firm to do their electrical. They hire a plumbing outfit to do their plumbing. They may have an in-house carpenter, which by far to me is a better situation, or they're going to contract a carpenter, be it a 1090, what we call a 1099 in the industry, a subcontractor. Okay, but my point to this little tidbit of information here is this: rarely do you find a company that doesn't use subcontractors. There are bigger companies like Roby, for example, that have a lot of in-house employees of different trades, but they also are licensed in different trades as well. My point to this is, most general contractors do not have staff in all the trades. They hire it out and contract it. Wouldn't you agree, Kevin? Mm-hmm. So therefore, they're constantly looking for qualified, like ceramic tile or porcelain tile or tile installations. You're going to find a good craftsman, someone who's an artist at their profession, passionate about what they believe in, passionate about the trade itself, and you want a good, and they're going to show up on time, you can depend on them. Now you hear everything I'm saying? They're good at what they do, they're passionate, and they're going to show up on time. Scheduling is imperative to having good people in the industry. That has become harder and harder and harder to accomplish in today's market. So it's affecting that too. So when you hire a company and they don't have a team that's established, that company's not going to perform to your satisfaction. Now, let me tell you why that matters. I just spoke to a lady that moved to Charlotte here recently in the past couple of years. She worked in Raleigh, Wake County. She's a general contractor, did building remodeling up in Wake County. Well, she moved down here. She got my name, there again, a referral, to install her vent in her kitchen. And it's a high-end house in South Charlotte. She took it on. She literally almost, I would say, all but gutted the interior of this house. The house isn't but 20 years old. She gutted it, remodeled it, redesigned it, remodeled it, upfitted it, did all she did. And I spoke to her because it's time for me to go in and put the vent hood up. Matter of fact, I'm going to do it Monday. And we're going to go out there and take care of it. Well, I had a conversation with her. She said, Ray, this has been some kind of job. I says, what's wrong? She says, I've gone through 3 electricians, 4 carpenters, and she goes on her little list, and she said, it's been brutal. I said, girl, I don't know how you put up with it. She said, it's been something. Now, this is the arena we're working in Charlotte. I hear this day in and day out. I told you the first hour about me going out and fixing some others' body's work. Last week I get a call. Ray, I had a plumber out here yesterday. He broke my faucet, didn't know how to fix it, and now the water's off on my kitchen sink. He left, and I don't want him back in my house. Do you hear that stress?
Mm-hmm.
Very stressful. Very stressful. Well, what are we going to do about it? Get a guy that's in the medical industry to come out and fix it. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I know.
But you get my drift?
Yeah.
See, that's how bad things are. There again, I don't want to be negative, but in the contractor world, finding help, I had people call me up and said, Ray, where can I find an experienced finish carpenter? I started laughing. at him because I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I need help. I said, you and everybody else, and the shelves are empty. There aren't any master craftsmen out there in carpentry anymore that you can just find readily available. Now, here's what we've got to do for this year. And it's like Kevin here. Kevin, have you learned anything in the past 2 years?
Constantly learning something. Doesn't go a day without learning something.
But you enjoy learning.
Oh yeah, that has to be up front. You have to want to learn, like you have to grow, like you have
If
to.
if you're in this field, you got to want to learn every day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got that attitude, it's great. You lost something, Mark?
Oh no, you're good. Don't understand. You're good. Yeah,
You're funny. You're fun to watch.
Oh no, yeah. I'm just trying to multitask, getting the MP3 ready for Jack.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like the attitude really is what creates the situation where the sky's the limit.
yeah,
Like you can do anything with the right attitude because you really can. You can take on anything. You can pick up the right
Right.
book. You can research whatever. And you can figure it out.
you sure can.
You can teach yourself, and
It's
that's
called
what's missing in schools. That's what's
critical
missing.
thinking.
Yes, it's
It's critical thinking. Not only can you fix things, you can't fix anything without the proper tools, can you?
yes.
If you don't have tools, now people say, well, how can I go into a trade like James just called? And, what does the equipment cost? What do my tools cost? There's upfront expense with tools, but you don't have to go out in one big swoop and buy all the tools. Because believe me, there's one factor around especially the trades, and that's tools. Every guy that I've known in the past decade that's got into the trades, if you go look in their truck today, it's full of what? tools, equipment, everything they need to do their job good, successfully, and on time, and to be the best it can be. You like tools?
I love tools. I got to say, all my tools I've acquired as needed.
That's my point.
And I would say most of the things I've learned as needed.
But you've learned through application.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, as you're doing it, sometimes you got to teach yourself, but you have to be willing to teach yourself, and figuring it out.
And
you'd be surprised what you teach yourself. Really.
He just said something. You've got to be able to teach yourself. The number one thing I see with our youth today and students in our schools, the biggest obstacle to overcome.
I know where you're going.
What is it?
They want to be handed everything,
and
they don't want to think about it.
And it's fear.
Yeah, it's fear. So they don't know. So it's like, oh, tell me. Someone's got to hand it.
You got.
I don't know what I'm doing here. So direct me. But they're not. They don't have any initiative to even lead themselves.
Engagement, and therefore put tools in schools trades day. When we show up at a school, we absolutely must engage these kids. Now, what do I mean by engage? What I mean by engage is real simple. You got to put something in their hands. For example, I got a table that I show up with. Uncle Ray shows up. Put tools in schools. And I've got a table full of hand tools on one end and 20-volt DeWalt tools, battery tools on the other end. And I let the kids grab a tool. It's the multi-tool. And we know what a multi-tool is. It's the safest tool on the table. I can't put a blade in a sawzall and give it to a kid. I can't put a blade in a circular saw and give it to a child. Can't do that without direct one-on-one supervision. And at one of these events where there's hundreds of students in the room, maybe 100 or less or more, but a lot, you've got to follow safety to the utmost. And even trying to be the utmost is tough to do. But my point is, put a multi-tool in their hand, let them use it. They light up. They really light up. And then ask them questions, about the hand tools. What's this tool? Show me a plumbing tool. Show me They have no clue. And that's an exposure that they need to grab a hold of. And when I was in Eastway Middle School, back when we started these trades days and getting involved with after-school programs and what have you, we had 1 hour a week with the kids at Eastway Middle, and I think we mostly talked to 7th and 8th graders. But when we did that, I can't tell you how many kids I saw bells go off. I saw lights go off. Two young men, actually 3 young students, all males, on the front row there. We were talking, and I was asking them questions. And, man, they said, I could do this. Mm-hmm. I like this.
Well, to see that light in their eyes makes the whole day worthwhile, to me anyways. When you see somebody get it or pick it up, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, or you give them an idea, something you shared, when they light up, for me, that gives me purpose. That fills my heart up. That's not something.
There's your return on your investment.
Exactly. That's not something I can put a dollar value on.
Right.
But it's something I'll remember on my deathbed, of when I'm reflecting. That's what made a great life. Right. That's where the value is for me.
I'm gonna give you a personal story of mine. If you're in the electrical field and you know what a 3-way switch is, right? Mm-hmm. That means you got to switch at more than one location to turn on the same light. In other words, if there's light in the room, you got to switch on that wall and another one on this wall where there's 2 3-way switches. And there's such thing as a 4-way switch. A 4-way, well, these are electrical things, but there's more ignorance around 3-way switch wiring than probably many others. As small as that sounds, but you've got to understand the principle behind 3-way switches. And my father, because I went to him many, many times and said, Dad, tell me about 3-ways. He says, well, let me tell you this. You're common. See, because there's a common screw on all 3-way switches, a common. And it's normally a different color to indicate it's the common. He said, son, the common is always your hot lead. Now, that didn't make sense to me, but it's always the hot lead. You either got a hot coming in feeding the circuit, which is your voltage, and then you got a hot wire going out to feed the fixture, which makes sense. You got a hot feed and you got a hot feed. One of them's hot and the other one's putting the hot to the fixture. Now, I carried that around with me for many years. One day, I was in a stairway fixing a three-way switch, and that light went off. Oh, that's what he meant. And it hit me. And from that day forward, I got three ways, four ways. I got the whole thing planned, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. And one time I did the rough end. That means you run all the wires when it's framed. I did the rough on the job. Well, I called Green Electric, this was years and years ago, to go out there and finish it up. He called me up and says, how in the world did you wire this three-way? And I told him. I tried to describe it on the phone, and I did, but he called me back. He said, I don't get it. I said, I'll be out there in about 30 minutes. He said, okay.
I'm the same way. I'm more visual. It's like,
I agree.
I need to see it and visualize it.
Well, I went out there and told him, and I walked him through it, and he says, Ray, honest with you, I've never seen a three-way run that way. It's right. It works, and it's great, but I've just never done it that way. And I said, well, did you learn anything today? He said, yeah, I did. His name was Terry Green. And he said, yes, I did. And I said, great. So, those moments, you learn every day, and you don't learn it immediately sometimes. You have to experience it and go through it and play that.
Or sometimes you think you learned it, but then later on you're like, there was more to it than I realized at the time.
Exactly.
And I've learned more from something that I learned a long time ago just because I'm looking at it a new perspective.
Right. Yep. Well, you're listening to About Your House, and we're on various platforms, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. The show will be downloaded to SoundCloud. You can go back and listen to it. And also coming up, we're going to be on Twitter or X, whatever the name is, and Instagram, various others, and you will see reels cut from these episodes and replayed on social media. The word this year, our goal is put tools in schools. We want to raise the awareness to the many construction pathways, many trade pathways that are out there for kids to get a hold of right out of high school. That's the beauty in this thing. We've all been trained and brainwashed to jump on the Matrix train. Does that make sense?
That's what it is.
It's jumping on the Matrix train. Yeah. You're in the Matrix, like that young lady I talked to yesterday. She was all in the Matrix, talking about certifications, apprenticeships. I said, are you aware that kids don't even know what that means? No, I didn't know that. It's a fact. Well, this year, this show, our efforts around put tools in schools, that's what this is all about. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. And this About Your House broadcast every week is going to be brought to you by I can't talk. Going to be brought to you by PutToolsInSchools.org, the nonprofit that it is, as well as Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store all over North and South Carolina. Google them. Go online, queencityonline.com. Great store, great prices, great service. And Mr. Player, Roddy, says low price guaranteed. So give him a call. Give him a try. That's queencityonline.com. Also Rhino Lift, Foundation Solutions, Kilo Exterminating, Owens Chimney System, ABS Insulating. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And if you hear it on this show, believe me, I vetted them. You like that word? I checked them out. Great companies, I promise you. Matter of fact, I'll get rid of a sponsor in a heartbeat if they don't do what they're supposed to do. And we've gotten rid of a few on this show. Another trend going on in the industry, speaking of industry people, industry companies, there's a lot of acquisitions going on. I think that's the proper word, takeover, acquisitions, gobbled up, whatever you want to say. You've got tremendous takeovers going on in the Charlotte market, meaning HVAC companies, electrical companies, automotive companies. They're being gobbled up by large investment groups and just taken over literally. Well, that changes the whole landscape around what a company can and can't do to as far as benefits go, pay goes, and just management. For example, one company, I won't mention any names, used to sponsor the show. It was a family-owned company. Been family-owned from a Charlotte family for many, many, many years. Well, they worked hard all their life. Company was bought, and the whole company changed. The whole personality of the company changed, and it wasn't good. Now, where'd that come from? Employees. They called me and told me. Well, see, they had to go. They couldn't communicate. What's the most important thing we do every day?
Communicate.
Communicate.
Mm-hmm. Connect.
And a great example of that's my engineer here, Mr. Mark.
Yes.
Mr. Mark communicates.
Yes. Right here is that.
Is that camera? No, you don't have a camera on you.
Oh yeah, I was just trying to get the right export stuff for Jack and all that stuff. So we're good now. We're exporting that now.
So we good to go?
Yeah, for that audio, yeah.
Now, folks, I know I'm all over the place today, but this is the first. And, you know, we're in the new studio called the Toolbox Studio, and we're going to be another part of this this year is going to be the expansion of what we can do with this studio and this podcast. We've got a whole learning area out there in the warehouse area that we're going to be teaching kids about electrical, carpentry, welding, plumbing, HVAC. Here's a big one for you. How about cooking? How many of you can cook? How many students can cook? Very few. Very few. Nutrition. We're going to teach that here. How to wash clothes.
Oh, my God, yes.
How to wash
It's
clothes.
amazing what kids don't know now that I think on it.
How to wash clothes. You know, another dying art. Cobbler. What's a cobbler do? You know what a cobbler does?
It's like lays out the stones and like a cobble.
No, that's amazing. That's
a shoemaker.
there you go.
Oh, yeah, you don't use that word in so long.
Cobblers. Where are the
Shoemaker.
cobblers nowadays? Shoe repair companies.
That's a dead trade in this country.
It's
as far as I
all
know.
but dead.
Yeah.
How about a seamstress?
Oh.
Seamstress, sewing.
Yeah.
That's something that, you know.
That's been outsourced. It's cheaper to rebuy a garment
but,
made in Hong Kong or you know,
but
or
there
Taiwan.
again, let me ask you. You got a needle and thread in your house?
I do.
You do. Well, see, you got a needle and thread, right? How many people out there got a needle and thread? How about you, Mark? You got a needle and thread in your house?
Oh yeah, we do. So yeah.
Cool. You know how to use it?
Yeah, a little bit. So
That's cool. Well, you know, most people, literally, I don't care your age, haven't been raised with that kind of, you know, background. Like my mom.
Well, not even in my generation. I mean, it's amazing the amount of people I've shown or just sewed up something or patched a hole or tied up a seam, mostly for women, which used to be, you know, I don't mean to be in a sexist way, but it used to be
And so
a
you gotta
predominant trade
apologize
like
for
that.
saying something. Ain't that somewhere we are?
Well,
in
well,
this
no,
co-
well,
but
I mean,
understand.
you know, certain trades were type casts and stuff like that. But my father was a tailor, so
Oh, really?
so I learned from him. He used to make fine Italian suits from scratch.
So
and all
your
that stuff.
father gave you that as well.
He even discouraged me. He's like, I don't think you'd like this. You'd probably like that. He was steering me, but he's like, but at the same time, I saw what kind of craftsman he was and what he learned from that and how to lay out
The
a fabric,
attention to detail.
how to do that. Yeah, the attention to detail. He was able to do everything else. He got into framing from that just by, you know, literally making picture
That's
frames.
the point.
Never used a miter saw before, but he taught himself
Sure.
because attention to detail and, you know, and precision.
One of the things you parents need to know, or your relatives or whatever need to know about kids, we all were born with a genius in us. Every one of us. And what do? You send them to kindergarten. Go into kindergarten classroom and you see all these constructive, beautiful pieces of things to build with. Tootsie toys, Lincoln Logs, now Legos, whatever it might be, blocks, you know. And those kids are all over it. And they not only are they all over it singularly, but they'll work together to accomplish a big project together. It's amazing. Then you go into first grade. Where'd all that go?
Yeah, it's like a switch. It's like
It's
all
just
of a sudden
they flip the switch on you.
and it's like every grade, every year, it's less and less colorful, the room. Less, you know, I noticed that.
It's crazy.
And, you know, toys are the first tools.
closer to the mic.
Excuse me. Toys are the first tools.
They are.
For a kid. I mean, and the more basic the toy, the more they have to use their imagination and expand into what they're trying to do or whatever they're trying to accomplish.
And that relates to tools. Tools are nothing but toys. That's all they are. We're Mark Borjas over there on the board. Every piece of equipment on that table that's running this show right now, that's technology-based, ain't nothing but a bunch of tools. And look at him right there on the joystick running the cameras. They're nothing but tools.
And you have to play around with them to learn it.
You've got
because like you don't know how to use it well just by reading the manual. You got to play with it.
Literally how I've done this is just pressing buttons, figuring out what works.
Experimentation, yeah. You have to.
And you know what? We're going to make mistakes. That's called reality. No, we're not perfect. I'm not a professional broadcaster, even though I've been on the radio 35 years, and it's helped me a great deal to get to this point.
But generally, that's why kids are better at technology than their parents because, they hand them an iPad or whatever, but they're literally playing with it, making mistakes, figuring it out. And then within, short amount of time, they're more advanced than, say, like I remember definitely the case 20 years ago when people didn't know how to use cell phones. Or remember in the early 90s, everybody started getting a computer. Nobody knew how to use a mouse. But what they give everybody to train to learn how to use a mouse, they gave them solitary, and they would play the game solitary to get the dexterity you needed in order to move the mouse. Now it's common.
Same thing. Tools are the same way.
Yep.
But once you get to your father, to the point of you, comparing this to your father, once you learn how to use tools, be it a sewing machine, be it anything productive and task-oriented, that'll carry over in so many facets of life. Like, here's a biggie that I talk about very frequently. I know people are tired of hearing it. Reading a tape measure. I have been asked by an educator, why is it important that they learn to read a tape measure?
Oh, man.
What kind of stupid question was that?
Well, I think it's relative to what's in the individual sphere. They've gotten this far without having to use it. So they don't see a purpose. But also we're in a country, where it's like this is a service industry. We pay other people to do basic things.
But where do you find people? There we go right back to put tools in schools and tell you what's missing. That's missing.
Yeah.
If our students aren't taught to read a tape measure, how can they relate to construction and what it's encompassing? They can't. They can't. And that's, to me, it just blows me away. They can't even do simple fractions, which is tape measure reading, by the way. And that's third grade math. Mm-hmm. But yet, teachers can't do it. Now, do you see my gripe there?
Oh, I see your dilemma. I share it because I've gone as I've been rolling along through life, I've seen this experience too. And it's amazing what kids do know how to do, but how practical is it?
But fear gets in their way too.
Oh yeah.
Kids are afraid to attempt things because they're afraid of failure.
Well, and which is kind of taught in schools.
It is taught.
It's taught like, don't fail, get the good grade, but it's not about the grade.
I corrected. I was in a classroom where one of the instructors, teacher, whatever you want to give her, call her, she wasn't a teacher. We were in an after-school program. And they were talking about, failing, getting things wrong and how, it was negative. No, and I stood up right then and I said, no. Getting things wrong is how you learn.
Yeah, we fail forward.
You always fail forward.
Yeah.
It's okay to fail. Like old James here, he goes out and gets an electrical job, Well, he's going to screw up. And, if you screw up and you own it. But here's the problem with me and an ego today. If I get in your case about screwing up and you look at me and say, well, if you, and this goes on, they want to turn around and blame me for it or blame, the accuser of it or bow out of it. No, just stand up and own it. That's all you got to do. Be a real man or be a real person and own your mistakes because we all make them. We all do. And matter of fact, I preface some orders. I've told you before on jobs, you're probably going to screw up, but it's okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's actually familiar with you. That's
I tell you, you're
familiarity
going to
with
screw
you.
up, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And it is okay, because I don't want you afraid to fail. Matter of fact, I don't mind you failing, because one thing...
You got to get over that fear,
Not
so
only that-
you can even attempt, and you attempt until you get it right.
But you don't want to fail.
No, you don't.
Innately, you don't want to
You
fail.
don't. But that's why you try harder.
Exactly.
And you don't do it till you get it right. You do it till you can't get it wrong.
That's
if you
right.
want to master something.
But we're not teaching kids that.
Yeah.
That's a big issue here. The way we teach kids is broke. Broke in, doesn't work.
Well, it's funny. I see a better, fundamental structure. Like I'm involved in a lot of different communities.
Right.
But say like martial arts, right? You're teaching kids. We're
That's
drilling.
mental discipline.
We're drilling. But you keep working on it until you get it right, and then you keep working on it until you can't get it wrong. But there's that ethic, and it's so missing from general schools that I see. And it can be any art form, any type of, whatever you're trying to teach. It could be an art class, whatever. But you have to create an environment to let the kid get confident and comfortable in making mistakes, in attempting, and putting themselves out there so they can feel secure in what they're doing in anything they do. And that transfers over. I see in a lot of time, whether it's music classes, whether it's art classes, anything like that. If they get the confidence in attempting it, doesn't matter pass or fail, they just keep doing it until they reach their goal then.
You said right then, if they got the attitude to stand up and attempt it, there's the attitude factor.
And that security comes with time. That sense of security and that safety comes with time, which whoever's mentoring or raising or teaching, that's the environment they need to set. And a lot of times, like say these trade companies, that's what they're setting up. So you can go there and make your mistakes there.
Matter of fact,
and that's why they want to start you at the bottom, because they want to get all that out of the way. A good company will invest in their people in that way.
but they typically will try you for 90 days. So you got 90 days to kind of prove your attitude. Down and dirty, make it simple, your attitude. If you've got a I can do it attitude, and you've got the will to show up every day to work, be on time, do the job required of you, and you're going to screw up from time to time. If every day's a screw up, you won't last because you don't have it. Passion plays a big role in our career success. That's it. If you can't love what you do enough to be passionate about it, go find something that will. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Passion, baby, passion. And I am passionate as heck in everything I do. And that is rare in today's world.
Yeah.
Very rare. Now, am I exceptional? You damn right I am. But I'm 74 years old and I was trained to be. Where has it gone? Now, am I bragging? No, I'm proud. That's something that's missing. It's called pride. To do a job well is prideful.
Yes.
And we need to instill that pride in people and encourage it, reward it. And what's a reward mean? It means good job there, Mark. Doing good, brother. See?
You got it. Yeah.
See, real simple. Real simple. How many times do you get that? You know, we don't give kids praise enough. And then, and when they do make a mistake, don't walk, oh, it's okay, Johnny, it's okay. We don't have to do that. Just say you screwed up, do it again. And if they can't handle it, well, that's part of life too, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And also another thing is sometimes, we go in with something, we have a dream, but after a while we learn, we hit the ceiling, we're not learning anymore, it gets monotonous, but we won't change and go into something that makes us happy because we're stuck in this comfortable misery. We're stuck in, ends up becoming miserable,
right?
But because we're comfortable, we're not willing to get out of the comfort zone,
right? And
try something new. And that's another thing. We need to be able to be willing to be uncomfortable. So you have to be daring. You have to be challenging and push yourself. And we have to get back to getting used to, being able to adapt, not being comfortable all the time, so we can actually take action to get us to where we want to go.
You're right.
Because really, that's another part, a big facet of the attitude of how we learn.
You got it.
We have to dare to learn.
But here's a big factor too. We talk about learning. We talk about attitude. We talk about business ethics, work ethics, all the values around it. We hadn't once mentioned money. And here's a biggie right here. Whenever you talk to kids too, the most important thing to them is money. That's what we've taught our kids. The most important thing is money. What's the most important thing we do? What's the most important thing we want? We want to be happy. We don't teach that in school. We don't teach that in life. It's always chase the money. And I got a little tip for you, and it's a factor. Now, I might be poor and broke. Not really. I'm very wealthy in ability, But if you chase money, if that's your goal and you're chasing money, you won't be successful in that endeavor. If it's all about the money. Now, you can make a lot of money and call that success if you want. But life, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, are you successful? I don't think so. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people equate money with happiness, but it seems to be over and over that I've seen when people get their goal, all they are is their money then. So they're not happy because it's hollow.
I agree, 100%.
It's hollow. I mean, yeah.
But so I want the whole purpose behind this show is to get the year started off in the right direction and make you totally aware as listeners, as observers here, and hopefully you've joined the podcast. And if you're on YouTube, this is something I don't want to say every week or every show. Subscribe and like us. I don't know what that's going to do for us, but do it anyway because everybody else does it. What the heck? If we're going to play the game, let's play the game, right? Subscribe, like us, and take it from there. We really appreciate you tuning in and listening to us, and hopefully we're coming across okay, good. And if you don't, give us some comments. Either go on YouTube and give us a comment or Facebook. We're on Facebook Live right now on About Your House Radio. We'd love any comments you got, little help, little input. Hey, we don't mind. Criticize if you want, as long as you be nice. That's all we're asking. So, About Your House coming your way every week. We're going to do this show live, hopefully, on Tuesdays. We're going to set it up to do Tuesdays around noon to 2 o'clock every week. And hopefully down the road, we're going to go a little further than that with 2 shows as we get going here. Because I want to develop a podcast around students, around children. I want to get them in here with the behind the microphones, telling you their point of view. Because one thing I've learned through my experience in life, kids don't lie. Matter of fact, sometimes they're so brutally honest, it's unreal. And I love it because they'll tell you exactly. My first guest is going to be a gentleman, a young 18-year-old that works with his father and has been homeschooled and has worked with his father. And his father and he have been on the show before, but I'm going to get him up. Our first Tuesday broadcast is going to be this coming Tuesday. We good? We on doc with that? We on schedule for that?
Yeah.
This coming Tuesday.
Yeah.
So this coming Tuesday around noon, we're going to be on the show here doing another show, our weekly show. So hopefully, every Tuesday at noon we'll be airing live streaming here on About Your House and Put Tools in Schools. So that's the whole format, so join us. We'd love to have you, and we're going to be on different formats as well. And a lot of social media presence is coming around our initiative in Put Tools in Schools. One thing I'd like to ask listeners and for feedback, what's your thoughts on what we're talking about? I know you probably want to hear more about houses and all this, but the fact is, if we don't find people to fix your house, you ain't going to have nobody to call. That's the truth. People say it's going to get worse. It couldn't get much worse than it is right now. It's really bad. Now, there again, if you don't call people and you don't have to do it, and you go online, and most people, and this is something I'd like feedback on too. Where do you find your people? Do you go on Nextdoor, or do you go on an app? Do you have success with that? Tell us about your experience, your personal experience in finding people in the service industry, because I sure like to know what works or what doesn't work, for that matter, in the realm of Charlotte service companies. And when I say service, I'm talking about the trades, because once again, if you learn to work with these hands in this mind, which we're not teaching in school, you'll never be without a paycheck. I didn't say job. I said paycheck. Because what's a job anyway? What would you consider a job?
Working for someone else.
There you go. Working for someone else, depending on everybody to give you orders and direction on what to do every day.
Yeah, you relinquish control, and you agreed for this amount.
Yep.
This amount of effort, this amount of hours of your life for this amount of money.
Right.
So it's kind of like an agreement.
It's a job. I don't like a job. I like going to serve my purpose.
Yes.
That's more of what
That's more in line with me.
That's what I want to do. I want to serve a purpose. Well, why can't we turn the tide and get rid of this job stuff and develop purpose and happy? Now, I know that might sound like a crazy notion, but it really works.
I think we're in the process because everything's crashing, and we're gonna have to figure it out once it's crashed.
The old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it's broke. It's broken. And that old saying George Carlin used to say, you can't fix stupid. Well, we better figure it out, because we got a big problem with stupid. And as I sit here and say that, it's our system's fault, and we collectively have let it get here. Mm-hmm. What are we, and it's a we thing, going to do about it? Put tools in schools' endeavors this year is to get into schools. Elementary, first time we've been asked to show up at an elementary schools this year. Crown Point Elementary School. And I've been asked, this is going to be interesting. I've been asked one day this month to show up at a curriculum night at an elementary school. Now, that's when the parents come and I guess talk to the teachers and everybody about their student, about their child as a student at that school. And what are they teaching? After all, that is curriculum, isn't it? It's what we're teaching our kids. Okay. It's going to be really interesting for me, because I want to see how many parents show up. I keep hearing, most of these issues are at home. They're home problems. Some are. Probably the vast majority are environmental issues at home. And could be. But there again, not necessarily so. Parents have to take an interest in schools. And not necessarily academics. We need to figure out what we're not teaching our kids in school. And they've invited me to show up at curriculum night. That's going to be interesting. And I'm looking forward to it. But we'll see how it goes. But it's the first. We've also been asked to show up to elementary schools for Trades Day. How do we relate to elementary school kids with Trades Day? Got any ideas? We got to engage them with simple tasks.
Yeah.
But yet let them know about tools. To me, that's my objective, is just literally show them tools, because a lot of these kids have never seen tools. And the fact is, if we're losing craftsmen, that means all the fathers that used to be craftsmen are no longer that. They're going away. How do we change that? Well, we've got some converters, meaning they're turning over here at the ripe young age of 30 and 40 years old. They're switching gears. They're jumping ship from corporate America to the trades. And if you're out there and you're not happy at your job, I highly recommend you look into the trades, because it's a fair, honest, wonderful, beautiful career pathway. And like I said, what we've discussed here. And the reason I brought Kevin on the show is because he relates to all this as a younger person in your early 40s, mid-40s now?
46, 47,
yeah,
something
mid-40s. And he's a year or so. And you've done a lot of things.
Yeah, I probably switched careers more than anyone I know.
But what do you really want to do?
I love creating. I love fixing problems. I love troubleshooting. I love helping people in a way that they weren't able to help themselves.
Right. Gotcha.
So it doesn't matter. The medium is just, subjective to the time and the moment.
Right.
It's like a real musician can play a tune on any instrument.
Right.
It doesn't matter. The instrument's just a medium. And that's how I feel. And so it's like, I love being creative. And I feel like, I was just thinking about this in the beginning of the show. I would, if I was going to classify myself, looking at everything that I've done, it would be more of an artist craftsman, because it's like I've had that artist eye, that artist mind. It takes me back to when I did art classes as a kid, and how much of that is I envision something, I imagine something, and then, and that's magic. You have a thought and then you materialize it.
One of the most beautiful things God gave us all is the imagination, creativity. Because you can't have an imagination without creativity, can you? I don't think so.
I don't know.
But if you can create, you can repair, you can fix and envision. And part of this whole arena of what we're talking about is dealing with the human creativity in each and every one of us. And it's God-given. Why would we take it away? But we have. We've eliminated creativity, critical thinking, imagination. We've literally eliminated most of that in our school system.
Yeah.
And
it's systemic. It's systemic, really. They've taken away independent thinking because they want people to fall in line in a factory setting.
They want our kids to be codependent.
They want to be reliable taxpayers and reliable, do this, predictable. But it's also, it's like a quiet prison.
It is a
it's
prison.
It's the Matrix.
It's a mental, constrictive prison institution environment.
And it starts right, in public schools. I noticed just right away. They teach you more than anything is conformity, conditioning.
Get in line, stay in line.
Don't speak out of turn, raise your hands, curb the enthusiasm,
behave.
Behave, and that's relative to everybody.
Behave.
Yeah, but that's relative to that's relative to everybody. Some kids need to fidget, some kids need to experiment. They need to push buttons. They need to try things out.
Especially young men, boys. Boys are geared to move constantly. Don't give them pills. And that's something I've got to say, and I've said it many times. You're looking at two ADHD kids who grew up to be men, okay? Made it. Fine. I'm as multitask-oriented as anybody you're going to find. How about you?
Yeah, I only got diagnosed 5 years ago.
There's another ADHD kid sitting behind the board over there, Mark Borja. Mike's ADHD. Mark is ADHD big time. And the wonderful thing about it, I've recognized that immediately. And I've quick story before we have to leave. We're coming up on the clock here, about another 8 minutes to go. But the point is, I work with this gentleman. I've told this story before, and I knew him a quite couple years, and he was a handyman guy. That's what he did. He's called the house doctor, a home doctor. So I called him up, and I said his name was Carl. I don't mind telling you, great guy, and he came over to put door locks on, put some light fixtures up, do this list of handyman stuff I've got. And I came in the next day. He was working. And I walked around and just checked out what he had done. Lord of mercy, he started 3 jobs, 3 little tasks, and never ended one of them. And I walked around and looked at what he did, and I started laughing. He says, "What's so funny?" I says, "You ever been diagnosed ADHD?" He looked at me very strangely and said, "No." I said, "Welcome to the club, because I just did." And he looked at me in very somber look and said, "Really? What? Why you say that?" And I explained it to him. I said, "It's nothing wrong. I can't believe no one's ever given you that kind of diagnosis or opinion. It never." And then it was over. The next day I came in and he says, "Ray, can we talk?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Yesterday you said I had ADHD, and then you told me why, and then it dawned on me. My grandson has issues in school." I said, "Yeah?" And he said, "And every issue is exactly what you told me I was." I said, "Yeah?" He says, "So it really affected me. It woke me up to the fact of my grandson." He says, if I'm that way and he's that way, then what is it?" And I told him. We had a great talk about it. I said, I'm no different. I'm the same kind. Well, it changed his whole outlook for his grandson. And I said, and here's the deal. If you're
He's working with them now instead of
Yeah.
like trying to structure them a certain way.
If you go to school and listen to the education system around an ADHD kid, you're not getting great advice. You're getting far from it
Yeah.
because that kid's got a gift. And the problem is his gift is one that they don't want him to have, because when you can be a critical thinking, self-perpetuating individual and fix things and do things without necessarily even being told, you're a threat.
Yes. You're a threat to the system.
You're a threat to the system they've instilled into the system, if that makes any sense to you. I hate being so negative and outright truthful about this, but we got a problem. And the problem is the education system and the way we aren't teaching our kids. It's what we're teaching them that don't make a bit of sense. They don't use it. They get out of school, can't read, can't write, can't read a tape measure, and you expect them to go to college 4 more years, 2, 4, whatever, and get a degree, and then do what?
Make money.
Go
Make
make money and
make
be
money and
successful. At what?
Make money to spend it on products to be better consumers.
So, folks,
So we're in a system.
you're in the matrix, people.
Yeah.
If you ever thought you were in the matrix, well, you just figured out how and why. And all of you people that have been to school in this system for the past 40, and I'm being kind of conservative here, 40, really goes back 50. 40 years ago, all this started changing, and it's changed, and here we are. You can't find a great electrician. They're out there. They're out there in numbers. It's just not enough of them. So
They're
what
on the
we gonna
waiting
do?
list.
What's that?
They're on the waiting list.
Yeah. You know, and then
Backlog.
they're liable to call you and say, can't make it today. We got called up on another job. And that screws up the whole schedule. I know you've heard that one before. So, well, Kevin, I've enjoyed you being here today. Thank you for coming in for the first show.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor, really.
I really appreciate it. We'll pull it out of the hat. The one great thing about 36 years in radio, we're doing this show very similar to the radio format. And once again, I couldn't do it without my sponsors, Queen City Home Store, long time in Charlotte, great thing, but they're all over North Carolina now, North and South Carolina. Look them up, queencityonline.com. You got Rhino Foundation Lift, Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. Great company. Look them up, Google them. Great company. Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. If you're looking for floor covering, they'll bring the showroom to you. Give them a call. Reach out to them. Go online. Check them out. Got great Google reviews. All my sponsors are top drawer in reviews, top drawer in quality service, and also ABS Insulating. ABS Insulating, great company. If you're looking for comfort or doing a new construction, when it's insulation, call ABS. They've got a whole gutter division too that can come out to your house, fix your gutters, take care of them, new downspouts, repair, replace, do whatever's necessary. New construction, old construction, custom gutters, they got you covered. That's ABS Insulating. Yep, I said gutters. And don't forget Kilo Exterminating. Kilo Exterminating, great company in Charlotte. Great. And been around a long time. Matter of fact, since 1952, I believe, as well. So we've got some old companies in Charlotte that do great work, great referral, great people. And we can't forget Owens Chimney Systems. There again, another family-owned, operated, and all technicians trained, certified in chimney sweep industry. So give them a call. Owens Chimney Systems, gas, fire logs, furnace cleaning, you name it, they got you covered. Look them up, Owens Chimney System. And once again, you're listening to About Your House. You might be listening to the rebroadcast on Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 on Fox Sports Charlotte. Download the free app, stream us live. Past 3 weeks haven't been streaming. It was broken. It's not any longer. It has been repaired. So we'll talk to you in the morning on Fox Sports Charlotte. Download it every week on SoundCloud and other. So look us up. And if you want to hear a rebroadcast, we're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and doing some great things. So tune us in every Tuesday. We plan to be here. And Mark, we got anything else to tell them?
I think we're good. Yeah, just check it out on Fox Sports and all. And
Check us out on Fox Sports, on Facebook, YouTube. That's puttoolsinschools.org. Check us out on the website, puttoolsinschools.org, on what you can do to help. We need your help. But in the meantime, go find your elderly, go find your neighbors, spread some love. We need more love. We're certainly too divided. Let's come together. Collaboration over competition. Industry. PutToolsInSchools.org. Check out the events calendar. Sign up, volunteer, show up. Let's change this landscape. We need tradespeople. We need kids to grow up, learn how to use their hands, critical thinking. Now go spread some love. We'll see you every week right here about your house, and soon to come, PutToolsInSchools.org. Go spread some love. We'll talk to you soon. We're out. Now, where do